Ladies, let's go ahead and switch it up. I have been doing it every day, 30-day series, talking about building the life that I prayed for. But I'm going to switch it up and make it to the point where all of us can relate to who we need to be. And it's time for us to take it up like at least 7 more notches. 30 days to become the woman God can trust with more. I feel like I meet so many women that want more out of life, want more for their children and their families. But the question is, can God trust you with more? Is he willing to give you more because you have put in the work to be trusted with more? And when we think about the idea of being trusted with more, we're talking about biblical stewardship. Like, how are you even stewarding your personal life along with your kids and along with your jobs and along with your careers and your businesses? How are you really out here, not just building the life that you pray for, but how are you building the life that God wants you to have because he could trust you with more? It's like really an idea and a mind shift to really get you to the life and the mandate that you were put on this earth for. So let's get right into it, because we're not talking about just more influence, more responsibility, more of peace, but we're talking about what does all of those things plus impact really look like for you. And I want to make sure, as I'm switching this series from building the life that I pray for to 30 days to become the woman God can trust us all with more, let's get right into how we can be more what I call problem solvers or women of resource. Being a woman of resource means you are the person that other women and sometimes men can come to because you have the ideas, you have the strategies, you have the mindset to do not only hard things, but you are quick and on your feet. You know what to do. You know how to do it. And if you do not know, you're very honest and transparent, and you go looking for the correct answer. Being a woman of resource looks like you are no longer timid. You are not scared. You are not walking in fear, but you're walking with boldness in the calling that God has called you to do. So when we're thinking about, while I'm on this cruise with my family, but desiring to make sure I did my consistent duty today, what does it look like for you not just to be the mom, the wife, the business owner, the career-oriented woman? What does it look like for that transformation to come into something bigger? How can you think bigger? How can you walk into your identity bigger? Or how can you walk into your life bigger? Like, how can you go into the tiny spaces of your life and in the big spaces where you walk into a room and everything shifts? You walk into an office and everything shifts. You walk into like businesses, your business, and everything instantly shifts. Your mind is consistently elevating and shifting to the point where you understand that you are the resource that not only everybody wants to call, because that can kind of get draining, but the specific people know that when they call you, things are going to shift and move. They know specifically that when they call you, mountains will literally move. And when we know in our DNA, in our identity, without fear, that we are women of resource, we do what exactly it is that we are called to do. And women of resource are also people, also women that not just go into things and get everything done, and we're people pleasers. That's not what women of resource are. We are kingdom builders with the specific, but we have specific assignments that we are running into, that we are going to make sure that we get done. So like I said, I have shifted this series. I feel like I had a revelation that, like, okay, Jessica, it's one thing to share how God has brought your life and transformed it, but you are a woman of resource. So instead of it being like, okay, not even like with haughtiness and things of that nature and with selfishness, but with saying, okay, you are a woman of resource, you are a solutionist, you don't like pity parties, you don't like victim mindsets. How can you shift other women's mindsets to become the women that God can trust them with more as well. And when we get to that revelation of who we are, what we're called to do, let's go over some pointers that allow us to become bigger. Because ultimately, that is the design of what we're called to do. If we're thinking about how we can become bigger, let's figure out what is our ultimate thing. What is our ultimate idea of what we're called to do? One of the things that I'd love to teach women from the beginning, and it's usually the foundation of everything that I do. If I'm doing a discipleship meeting, if I'm consulting a woman, if I'm going into businesses and figuring out how we can fix it, or if there is a solution to what is the issue, which there's a solution. Everything is figure outable. We always talk about this one specific thing that I love to make foundational: identity. Identity allows you to know who you are inside and out. Identity is that when nobody cares to listen to you, when nobody cares to hear you in that moment, when things are going haywire and you are on the fence of everything else in life, but you have that inner identity of who you are and what you're called to do on this earth, let's just start there. A woman with a level of identity, it's figuring out who is she becoming or who has she become. I always tell women all the time, figure out who you want to be. I'm not even talking about materialistic either. The type of mindset. How do you want to think? At what level? What do you want to represent? Now think again, once again, we're thinking bigger. We're not thinking materialistic. We're not thinking for selfish worth. We're thinking about how can we be a resource to other people around us in every aspect. So we're talking about identity, which that sometimes looks like you are no longer waiting. That's number one. So the first topic is identity. But if you want to even take a note, under identity is you are no longer waiting. Okay, you are no longer feeling confident. You are going to be confident to do what you need to do. You will walk with boldness. You will no longer be fearful. You're going to step out no matter what it takes. And what I like to say, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes for you to be fearless in what you need to be doing. And sometimes that looks like the ability to become healed and also know your purpose. Because identity is what comes out of you in the hard seasons, but also in the easy seasons as well. When you're in the valleys and when you're in the mountaintops. Like, what does it look like for your identity and your DNA to not change for nothing? You see Nova in the background? It's okay. We're going to go on to literally what is the next idea of what we need to make sure we are overcoming or make sure we're pressing into after identity. So identity is number one. It's foundational. You have to know who you are inside and out. You have to know your purpose on this earth. And if you don't know, you are consistently, daily asking the Lord, what am I called to do on this earth to be a resource? Because it is bigger than you. You have to get over that it's only supposed to be for you and your family. Whatever you're called to do should be for about 100 other people, at least 10 other people, at least 5 other people, because it's more than just you. Because that's how you become a woman of resource. We don't become women of resource for just ourselves. I'm not the woman of resource just for Jessica. I'm not the woman of resource for just my 6 kids or just for my husband. I need to be a woman of resource for other women to get to where they need to go as well. Stewardship. With stewardship, understanding that we're talking about many levels of stewardship. We're talking about relationships. We are talking about how you steward your money. We are talking about your marriage, your businesses, your health, your time management. We do not talk about stewardship with time management enough. It's so interesting because one of the ladies that I'm mentoring, she asked me literally the other day. She said, Miss Jess, what does it look like to manage time? And I have to be honest with her. That what does it look like for you to look at your life and say, what am I giving the most time to? Sometimes for some people it's social media. Some people, it may be other people. It may be some things that are just so idle, watching TV all day. But when we think about the level of stewardship that we have to have in order to be a woman of resource, but not only that, in order to become the woman God can trust with more, you need to learn how to steward your life well. You have to steward your life well by managing your time, managing the things that He has given you, your money. How are you managing it? How are you budgeting it? Stewardship is one of the highest levels of becoming a woman of resource, because you know where everything is going. You can pinpoint where this is and where this is because you steward the time. Number 3, wisdom. I'm only going to do 3 today because I have so many more, but we're on the 30 days. So with that, wisdom. What does it look like to make better decisions? What does it look like for you to steward time well? You can also be, becoming a level of identity that you want to have, but asking also God for wisdom to even steward those two beforehand. What does it look like for you to make better decisions in your personal life? Make better decisions with raising your children. Make better decisions with your partnership with your spouse, with your husband. What does it look like to lead well at your job? What does it look like to lead well in your businesses? Maybe you're not in leadership at your job. What does it look like to have the wisdom to do what you need to do every day at your job in decency and in order and with an excellence? That's also a level of wisdom. You are using the wisdom of God to go into the different sectors that you're in life to make sure you're stewarding them well, make sure that you are pursuing the level of identity that you're supposed to have. And with that, all of the things flow. But to be a problem solver, to be a woman of resource, to be a woman that learns how to think bigger and beyond herself, we have to understand that becoming the woman God can trust with more, it has to start with us. It's usually what I like to say is learning that it's one decision away from making a better decision, wisdom. One decision away from using discipline and stewardship better. One decision away from leveling up your identity and asking God, who am I supposed to be on this earth? Why did you make sure I was delivered out of my mom's womb to make it to this age to be who I'm called to be? When we are thinking about becoming the woman God created us to be, when we are thinking about women that God can trust with more, it's not about always making sure we're reaching a certain notch. It's about every day taking the baby steps to mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually become better. When we take the steps to do that, it naturally comes with time. It naturally comes. Stewarding your family and your children better, that naturally comes with time. But in order to steward the 1 more, the 5 more, the 100 more, the 10,000 more, he has to be able to trust the woman you are today. So my question to you is if you desire to be a woman that God trusts more, what are you doing to steward that time now to gain the trust for him to use you for more? I hope that you have enjoyed this series so far. We are on day 4, okay? And with that, I'm really excited to press into more as we get into the next day at 4 p.m. to make sure we are stewarding, and we will talk about more topics that will help us press into the 30 days of how God can trust us with more as women. I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye.